most recent development there has been the CDC really reaffirming the position that many of us had taken weeks or months ago, that COVID-19 is airborne. And that really changes the conversation on what role a building's HVAC and building automation system can play in the spread, helping curb the spread rather of COVID-19 within a building. Outside of that, we're seeing almost daily, definitely weekly, reaffirmed guidance from the likes of the WHO and ASHRAE on the role that the HVAC system plays, and then really what we as manufacturers and installers and building automation system professionals can do to run clean, healthy buildings. Yeah, I think the biggest challenge with K-12 initially was time. We, back in the summer, knew that there was this compelling event on the horizon that kids needed to go back to school. And at the time, we were trying to pull every lever possible alongside our K-12 customers to ensure that those schools and the plans around kids coming back or kids being virtual were as safe as possible. As we fast forward to today, those plans are in motion. Many kids are in school, and our focus has now turned to what measures we can implement to help boost the capabilities of the mechanical systems that they have in place. So simple things such as making sure that proper ventilation rates are in place with mechanical equipment, filtration measures are in place, upgrades of filters. MERV 13 tends to be the most common recommendation that we make. But I think most importantly these days is our focus on what we call in-zone measures. An in-zone measure is something like an air scrubber that exists within a space, can be moved from space to space, and helps supplement the clean air delivery capabilities of any given mechanical system. K-12 schools tend to look to measures like that because they can be quicker to get to the site, they can be more cost effective, and they're portable. And that's really where we're focusing our time as we help our K-12 customers continue to operate safe buildings. Yeah, the primary difference between a K-12 school and a higher education or other type of trade school is the type of mechanical system that they have. K-12 schools tend to have a specific type of system, maybe a DX packaged system or some type of unit ventilator system, whereas college campuses, large distributed campuses, tend to have central plants, and those central plants generate chilled water or hot water distributed to an air handler. And the types of technology, although they share some commonality, are different. And we need to have strategies that are diverse enough, flexible enough, such that they can be applied to any type of mechanical system that we run up against, whether it's a K-12 school or a university. Well, hospitals and healthcare facilities are unique in that the challenges of operating a safe, healthy space, delivering clean air into a space are not unique within the healthcare community. The Joint Commission, other regulating bodies in the healthcare industry have established a minimum set of expectations for many years now. So things like proper air filtration, proper ventilation rates, proper isolation of patients, whether it's COVID-19 or otherwise, have been in place for some time. So our focus in healthcare and in hospitals is in helping them be more flexible as they bring in more patients that need to be isolated, not necessarily on the basics of what it takes to operate a healthy space. Yeah, we bucket our solutions into 4 categories: ventilation, filtration, disinfection, and isolation. And there are several Johnson Control solutions that fall within each one of those buckets. And it's important that we look at those as separate categories because there are a bunch of technologies out there that we can partner with our clients on, from things like filtration, which I talked about a second ago, portable filtration devices as well, all the way through emerging technologies like bipolar ionization, or more established disinfection technologies like UVC lighting. We're finding new applications for those, I would say, established technologies like UVC, such as moving UVC into a space. An example is a pretty cool product that we have that is a lighting troffer that has an integral UVC light in it that moves the lighting into a safe space above the lighting fixture itself, draws air over it, sanitizes and filters the air rather, and then disperses it or supplies it back down into the space. And then finally, isolation. This is all about making sure that infected patients are in a room in which air is being exhausted out properly so that it doesn't spread under doorways and into common areas. We have a full suite of room pressure control products that help us within that bucket of technologies. Yeah, that's a really common challenge. And back to your question around K-12, we find that more often than not, if we're going to find an older system, it's probably going to be in a K-12 school. Budgets may have been constrained so much over the years that they may have not been able to invest like a hospital, or even some universities have been able to. So that's why it's so important that we have technologies that aren't specific to one type of mechanical system or another, because we may find that a school system has an air handler that's 50 years old, and simply we don't have the capital available to us, or the school doesn't, to make any more investments in that unit, and that it would be too cost prohibitive to replace that unit. So being able to move our partnership with that school down into the zone and focusing on things like portable air scrubbers or UV HEPA lighting troffers is so critical to a K-12 school system, because that's irrespective of the age of the mechanical system. And we find that in most cases, by focusing on in-zone, we're able to get them the clean air delivery rate that they need to bring their COVID-19 risk mitigation down to an acceptable level. Yeah, that's a great question, and really reinforces the value in an IAQ assessment through a partnership with Johnson Controls. Whether it's a K-12 school system that is has a 50-year-old mechanical system, or a university science building that was built 2 years ago, an IAQ assessment is going to tell us where we need to focus our efforts. Just because a building is new and it's got a new mechanical system doesn't mean that it has been maintained well in the last couple of years. Doesn't mean that we have proper minimum ASHRAE ventilation rates in that building. And it also doesn't mean that some of these newer emerging disinfection and filtration technologies have been applied in those buildings. So taking each opportunity on a case-by-case basis, starting with an IAQ assessment, is going to help us build a tailored approach to helping that client operate a clean, safe building regardless of age. Well, I'll tell you, in addition to the one I just described, the output of that IAQ assessment is going to be the input into a tool that we have developed internally at Johnson Controls that spits out a series of recommendations. So we take the output of the IAQ assessment, we fold in things like geographic, the geography in which the school or the building is located, the goals of the customer as far as transmission rates, where they want to go, where they are today, all goes into a really cool tool that Johnson Controls has developed with science backing it up. And then we take that and build a tailored approach, pull together a proposal, sit down with our client, and talk about what solutions we can implement to help them get their transmission rates down to an acceptable level. it's important to note, and we stress this when we talk to our clients, especially those in affected areas like the ones you mentioned, that clean air doesn't necessarily mean outdoor air. Clean air is a function of outdoor air plus filtered air plus disinfected air. And in those areas where air quality is poor, outdoor air quality is poor, we have other levers that we can pull. That just means that the minimum ventilation rates that are prescribed by ASHRAE may not be achievable for that client. We then move on to the next in a series of options that we have. We'll invest more heavily in filtration. We'll invest more heavily in disinfection technologies so that we can still get that clean air delivery rate that we know we need to get their transmission risk down to an acceptable level without being able to, in the case of wildfires, pull in more outdoor air simply because it's not clean. No, I think that, this was a very good range of relevant questions. There's a lot of information, a little bit of misinformation that's floating around right now. Our customers, us, our competitors, we've never found ourselves in this position before. And we feel at Johnson Controls like we've got a responsibility to leverage our capability, our people, our solutions to help society out. And yes, of course, we're in this to run a profitable business. But at the end of the day, we're people. We're parents, we're fathers, we're husbands, we're moms, we're dads. And we care about our safety, our children's safety. And we're taking that responsibility very seriously at Johnson Controls, and really look forward to the opportunity to talk with you today about what our clients can expect out of a partnership with us.